Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Bite-Sized BIM, How to Issue Design Markups. This webinar is brought to you by Applied Software, and I'm your host, Alyssa Chartier. We encourage you to take advantage of our fully customizable webinar console by clicking on the icons at the bottom of your screen. You can resize any of these widgets during the presentation. Starting from left to right, you have that help widget if you need assistance during the webinar. Then you have the slides widget that contains the PowerPoint used for today's presentation. The media player allows you to control the volume. After that, you have the Q&A widget where you can type in questions and comments throughout the presentation. We'll take time to answer those questions at the end of today's webinar. We are excited to connect with you further. Please take a moment to introduce yourself. For other questions or comments, or to request more information, click on that next widget to send us an email. Next is the Facebook widget. Like our page to catch up on the latest trends, training opportunities, and much more. You can take the survey at any time during or after the webinar, and we'll talk more about the survey shortly. The resource widget contains links to register for more bite-sized BIM if you liked this one, our free webinar library, and a couple of BIM-related events we have out in the Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio areas. Make sure to register for those. Finally, we have that URL widget where you can register for a future webinar. This webinar is being recorded for your convenience, and you will be receiving an email with the recording link for future reference. Find Applied Software on social media to make meaningful connections, receive special offers, and stay up to date on the newest innovations. Be sure to visit our website, ASTI.com, to see how to achieve your design and business objectives through our innovative solutions, training options, and services. If you are so inclined, click that URL widget to register for Gabe's Revit Universe Fabrication 101. You can also find a complete schedule of upcoming events, webinars, and trainings on our website calendar, asti.com/calendar. Want to win $25 to Amazon? Fill out our survey at the end of this webinar to be entered into the drawing. I am pleased to introduce to you Rick Kremer. Rick, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you all. And just wanted to make sure you all can see our screen. So great. Welcome everyone to our BIM 360 Presents and Bite-Sized seminars. Today's session is going to be all about marking up drawings on BIM 360. And I wanted to go ahead and show you a little bit here of our BIM 360. So let me go ahead and give a quick introduction about myself. Over here, basically, I come from the University of Florida. My background is in architecture, and I'm also a senior technical consultant here at Applied Software. I have about 22 years experience in the architectural end of things, and also I've been a Reviteer for the past 8. I've also taught at the University of Miami, at Mississippi State, and also at Palm Beach State University and ITT Tech. And I got to tell you all, I'm very, very excited. I am speaking at Autodesk University. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and then also tell you a little bit about my class. I'm going to be doing a class on experiencing 360 degrees virtual reality as low as $4.99. My Autodesk certifications also are I am a professional in Revit as well as a circuit service marketplace provider and an active contributor to Autodesk Knowledge Network. If you haven't seen the Autodesk Knowledge Network, it's Autodesk's version of basically Google or YouTube. If you ever are looking for information on how to do something within Revit, or any other Autodesk application, just search Autodesk Knowledge Network and you'll find myself and others who are more than willing to share information and solutions on issues that you may have. Okay, so back to you, Alyssa.
All right, thanks, Rick. Let's start this out with a couple poll questions. Does your company currently use BIM 360 Design? We'll keep that open for a few seconds. Just go ahead and submit yes or no. And just a little bit of trivia for us to gauge where you are so we can better serve you. And just leaving that open for one more second. Okay, so it looks like most of you are, of those who submitted. Great news. You're in the right place.
Awesome.
And the next question, we just kind of wanted to throw something a little bit fun in there. Get the fun flowing. If you had the ability to time travel, would you go back in time, go forward to the future, or not do anything? You are very happy with where you are right now. You switching around the slides on me, Rick?
Yes, yep, sorry, I just went forward on you because I saw that wasn't...
No, you're all good. Yeah, I don't know what I would do.
I don't know. I'll tell you. Yeah. I personally, I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go to the future, because then what would you do if you find out, what's going to happen one way or the other? Then you're going to be cautious or optimistic. I don't know. Personally, I would go back in time. What about you, Alyssa?
Yeah, I think I'd go back to the 20s. Just for the roaring 20s. What about you?
Roaring 20s. Well, I think I would go back just a few days just to find out the winning lotto ticket.
That's really a better answer.
Yeah. Not too far back, just a week. That's about it.
Well, sounds like a Disney Channel original movie right there.
Exactly.
All right, let's push that. All right. It's a 50-50 split. Well,
all right. Wow. I'm really surprised. A straight 50-50. That's awesome. And no one that says, nah, I'm fine where I'm at. I'm good.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, hey, thanks all for participating in our fun little questions. It's always lively. We try to keep it upbeat. Okay, so without further ado, and while you're here, and we want to make this really short, and by the way, we are going to do a hard cutoff at 1 o'clock because we believe in trying to get this information in bite-sized little webinars so you can get back to eating your lunch for bite-sized lunch. So today's agenda is really about BIM 360 design and how to mark up the drawings and why you would want to mark those up. We're going to take a look at the existing methods, how to do markups in BIM 360 design, and then at the very end, we're going to open this up to some questions and answers. So let's talk about some existing methods, what I consider the old-fashioned red lines, using red line markers and pens. Everyone is probably very used to receiving those type of red lines. Then the question is, how do you deliver these? Do you have a revision box on your desktop? Does someone roll them up and drop them off on your desktop? Or do you send them in via mass email, right, in your red lines? And then how do you do those? Or do you do like what I used to do and send it via UPS or courier service? Matter of fact, funny thing is my first job out of high school was going around. I was an intern at an architect's office, and I would collect the drawings from all the different disciplines, make copies using the blueprint machine, and then drive them around town to all the engineers. And that was my first internship. So how do you deliver your drawings? How do you deliver your red lines? Then, how do you actually make sure that the work is really done? For all the project managers out there or people doing the hard work themselves, you know what these Sharpies are. Anytime that you get a red line and you complete that exercise, what do? You hit it with that Sharpie. As a PM, then I always have to go back and make sure that those red lines were actually completed. So let's talk about current markup tools electronically that are currently out there. A lot of you are probably already familiar with Bluebeam Studio. Excellent application for marking up drawings. And using Bluebeam Studio, you also have the ability to do a team markup. But there's some downsides to that because basically if you're using Bluebeam, then you're looking at an output as a moment in time of a drawing set. You're never really looking at what I consider the one true truth, the singular truth of the central file living on BIM 360. To give it away a little bit. Another tool that I see a lot of people using is Adobe Acrobat. A lot of people have been using Adobe. It's been around for a long, long time, but it's the same thing. You're looking at a moment in time of a captured element, a captured drawing, and it's never really live. Another one on the market is PlanGrid, also the same kind of thing. All three of these applications utilize technology to mark up and deliver the drawings, but you're never looking at the actual drawing themselves that is part of your team effort. It's always a snapshot. So let's talk about what I consider the flavors of BIM 360 design. Starting from left to right, we have design, then pre-construction, field execution, and handover and operations. BIM 360 design, what we're going to be focusing on, is an aspect that covers all flavors of BIM 360 design. If you've ever attended any of my other webinars, you've seen me talk specifically about the one all the way on the left-hand side called BIM 360 design. And that BIM 360 design is all about the construction documents, the documentation, all the way up to 100% permit, which pretty much everyone on the phone call is probably worried about or concerned. The other aspects during pre-construction, field execution, and handover all utilize the platform called BIM 360 Docs that we're going to explore today. That way, any of the markups and things of that nature can live on in the project throughout the different phases of your project, all the way into handover. The idea here is that it's one central file, one location, one object, one truth. That is BIM 360 design. So, what are we going to do today? Today, we're going to be talking about document management. And in this session, we're going to take a look at one of the modules, the module called document management. In this session, we're going to talk about the comparison between issues and markups and why you would want to use one versus the other. We're going to create and assign a markup and actually look at a real workflow and review and navigate the files to understand how those are created. And then we're going to demonstrate how to compare changes between two different models. We'll look at 2D versus 3D. And then finally, we're going to look at how you can close any open design issues. Now, the thing to keep in mind here is that all of the information, if you're familiar with BIM 360 design, is that everything is located online. So your files, your documents, everything is in one location. So you never, ever have to worry about, well, did I email the right drawing? Did I email the most current background to the engineers? Or am I marking up the background that needs to be worked on? In BIM 360 design, we're going to show you how this is going to be done. So without further ado, I'm going to go over here and share my screen with you all. And we're going to take a look at BIM 360 design. Alyssa, do you see my BIM 360 design window over here?
Just give it another second. It's taking a moment. And we're golden.
Awesome. Oh, good, good, good. Sometimes a little bit of a slow. I got like this AOL dial-up over here in Florida. I think the hurricane messed with some of the internet lines. But anyway, so here we are looking at BIM 360. Basically, the document over here under the module called Document Management is what we're going to be taking a look at. To understand how BIM 360 documents is used, you have to start to take a look at the files that are located here. And these are the versions of BIM 360 central files that are published from Revit onto document management. In this case, one of the things that I can start to do is click on this to take a look at that drawing. When I open up this dialog box, you can see that we're looking at a representation of the model. The little indicators that you see over here as an orange dot or a blue dot indicate open issues or closed issues. And you might be going, what is he talking about? Let's talk about that for a moment. Over here, let's say I'm going to start to take a look at this new building over here, which is, frankly, it's missing a roof. And I want to go through and mark it up. Well, on the left-hand side, you have a set of tools. What's really nice about this tool set is the experience that you have on this is exactly like what you would have on an iPad or an iPhone. And in just a little bit, I'm going to show you how easy it is to do these kind of markups on those. Over here, we have on the very top called Markups, and the other one called Issues. And here's what I'd like to talk about the difference between the two. If we look at Markups, it basically goes through and gives us the ability to create a markup and give us the ability to create a markup, but it's almost like a personal note about something that I need to do. And it doesn't get assigned to anyone. If I'm a project manager and I want something to be corrected or cleaned up or fixed, I'm going to create what's called a design issue. The design issues, when you create an issue, gets assigned to an individual. Because let's face it, if you're marking something up, why is it marked up? You're marking it up so that someone fixes that issue, whether it's someone on your team or let's say your structural engineer. So in this case, I've identified the fact that, well, I need a roof over here, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Create an Issue. Over here, I'm going to give it a new title, but before I do, I says pick a location. And so what I'm going to do is simply click right here and then give it a status over here. The title is, please create a roof. It's something we might need, right? And what's great about this is I can assign this to, as you see, a user, a role, or a company. Now, let's talk about that just for a moment. I can assign that to an individual participant that's on my team, my architectural team, or to a role. So the roles are defined by architect, BIM manager, construction manager, etc. So anyone that's assigned that role will receive notification. Or maybe it's an electrical issue. I can send it to the company that's involved in my project as the electrical company, and then everyone from that company will receive a notification. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and send it over to one individual, my structural guy. And I'm going to choose the date, and it's due tomorrow, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Create. Now, this issue has been created, and what's really nice about this is the person on the receiving end will receive an email notification. And to kind of see what that looks like, I'm going to go over here. I've switched over here to the inbox of Gmail of this individual. And he is receiving an email automatically. It says action required. He clicks on it over here and he says, okay, I'm going to click and view this issue. What this does, it takes him to the design issue on his site. In this case, our structural engineer opens up immediately and he says, hey, here is this issue. Please create a roof. And I can basically click on attachment, activity, and what I can start to do is add a comment. What's nice about this is that this information, there's never an email, there's never something that I have to create from Outlook, and it's all contained in this one location. And I'll say from the structural engineer, we'll create the roof once your team has drawn it. And I'll go ahead and send it. And I'll say, I'm going to mark it answered, and click Done. I'll go ahead and close this. And now let me go back as the architect over here. And when I go back over here, I'm going to go ahead and refresh this, just so I can see the latest, greatest changes. And hopefully in just a little bit, we should see that the architect or the structural engineer has received an answer. And there it is, answered. It's just that easy to then go ahead and look at it and say, oh, yep, okay, I'm going to go ahead. And then as the architect, I can now approve the issue and close it. So it's no longer part of my system. I can say, okay, I've identified it. I'm going to go ahead and close it and say, yes, thank you. We'll add to CD set a roof and click Done. And he receives a notification and the issue is closed. Again, from managing a project, this is all really, really, really wonderful and easy. Now, I had mentioned how easy this is to do on the phone. So one of the things that I really like to do is showcase how BIM 360 operates on a device on your phone. So in just a second over here, I'm going to connect my phone to the screen over here so you can see what's going on. On my phone over here, I'm basically going to open up BIM 360. Does everyone see this? Alyssa, do you see my fancy schmancy iPhone over here?
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. So what's really nice about this is all the information that you see in the background is available to you on a cell phone, which means I can go over here, for example, go to my project, and this is all available to you from any smartphone, view the information. I can also go through and start to look at sheets. So over here, I'm going to create another informational markup, and I'm going to zoom in over here and create an issue. I'm going to create the issue right here and assign this issue to someone. And in this case, I'm going to send it to, oops, that was the title, need roof, and description. And I can just use my voice to text, which is really nice. Please add roof to construction documents, period. And as you can see, I'm using my text to speech, and I'm able to create this really quick. And what's nice is I can go ahead and even take a picture. And over here, I'm going to just take a picture of something and hit done. And now this issue is now part of that that photo is part of that issue. And basically, I'll go ahead and click on Create. That issue has now been created, and what's really nice is that all of this can be done as a walkthrough. So one of the things that I can do as an architect is go through as a punch list and walk through a job site anywhere and use my telephone to document or measure or even look at objects. I can also, just through the phone, which is phenomenal, if I want to go through and explore my drawings, for example, I can come over here, click on the walk button, and up at the top is a little mini map, and I can go through and, let's see, I'm really, really close. So over here, I'm going to walk around, walk out to the parking lot, and then look back. Maybe walk back. Hopefully this isn't making anyone seasick. But the idea is we're looking at the next gen of trying to look at and understand a space. This is really, really phenomenal, and it's all from the fingertips of your phone. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing on my phone and then talk about the next part, which is one of the powerful features of BIM 360 design is to compare documents. I have about 5 minutes to complete this. So in the next part over here, as an architect, I want to go through and compare the drawings from one version to the next. This is really, really easy to do. And over here on the bottom left-hand side, I can click on Compare Versions. I can select different versions. In this case, I want to see what the current version is versus one back, and click on Compare. Now, what's really nice about this is it gives me the ability, and I can compare my drawings, I can compare structural drawings, anything I want within the drawing set, and simply click on Compare. Now, in this case, I'm looking at the default 3D view. I can compare floor plan view to floor plan view, which we'll do in just a second. But I want to understand this in 3D to understand what's changed. In the background, Revit and Autodesk is doing the hard work of comparing those objects to see what's changed. And here's my model. Over here, it has a simple set of filters that I can click on to show me things like, for example, what's been added. Now, this is quite obvious, but I might have missed that the user, someone added these two doors. And so I can see those clearly in this model. If I click on Removed, I can see that a door was removed. Now, this is kind of obvious, but imagine the power as an architect when you receive an updated set of drawings from your structural or mechanical drawings from your engineer, and they've moved their ductwork 3 inches, but they didn't tell you about that, or the structural grid a fraction of an inch or a foot. That could have a huge effect on your design, and if they didn't notify you of those changes, it's really difficult to find. BIM 360 Design and Document Changes makes it very, very easy to identify. Let's take a look at that again, but this time, let's take a look at comparing the drawings in plan view. Over here, I'm going to change it from 3D, and I'm going to look at the ground floor, and I'm going to look at the ground floor. Whoops. Sorry, I clicked away on that one. Compare. And I'm going to compare the ground. To the ground floor and click on compare. And again, BIM 360 is going to easily identify for me in drawing what has been changed, added, or removed. So let's take a look at what's been added over here. And there are my walls that have been added. Very easy to identify. Let's see what's been removed. I'll zoom out. And there's the door that's been removed. It's very easy to identify again, and I'll go ahead and click on added, and I'll see that the doors, someone deleted the door here and added these two doors here. This is an excellent opportunity for quality control and seeing what's available to you. Let me go ahead and click on close compare. So in a nutshell, we talked about marking up drawings, doing markups versus issues. And in this case, I always like to do issues. I don't find any use for markups, and issues gives me the ability to create an issue and assign it to someone for it to be completed, because quite frankly, that's what they're there for. Then we talked about comparing drawings and how easy it is to do either on your iPhone, Android device, or on a computer. And then we talked about the ability to go through and close open issues. This is an essential aspect of any project manager's role. When we go over here and go to Project Home, I can view all the open issues and closed issues that are part of my project. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and let this populate and open up the floor for any questions and answers for the next 3 minutes. And there's our open issues and closed issues.
And we'll get a lot more services if we can.
Did you say you're taking questions?
Yes. Let's go ahead and take some questions.
All right. Question number 1 was someone asking about the iPhone. Is this an app or a web browser?
So it's an app. It's just called BIM 360, and it is included in your subscription. So once you pay for the subscription, just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and look for BIM 360, and it's a free app.
Next question, do these comparisons have to be done with Workshare models working directly through BIM 360? I'm asking because I like our firm to use it internally and to be able to compare what changes are done in the ARC model whenever we get a new model, which we would have to upload ourselves.
So that is an excellent question, and I would have to get back to you on that. I've only tested it with work-shared models, to be quite frank with you. But I would imagine that it would also work with non-work-shared models that have been uploaded. But that's a great question. I'd be happy to follow up with you one-on-one after this webinar.
All right, we will make sure that happens. And one more question. Does document management come with BIM 360 Design?
Yes, it does. And matter of fact, BIM 360 Design includes docs. So once you purchase BIM 360 Design, it includes a seat of docs. So you have that ability to do everything that we're doing here online through any web browser. And matter of fact, this web browser can be done on an Apple computer. I'm a Mac guy myself, and it's available to you on Mac as well as PC or Chrome for Chrome users.
Rick, that's where we differ again. I definitely am a PC person myself.
I'm a Mac guy. All right, I think we got about 30 seconds. How are we doing? Anyone else? Any questions?
I think we're good, and we are going to close it down, give you a little bit of time for lunch. Thank you for joining us, Rick.
All right. Thank you, Alyssa. And thank you all for joining me on our bite-sized webinars. Look forward to seeing you all next time.
And everyone, don't forget, if you have a question, you can access our chat box on the website asti.com at any time. Make sure to fill out that survey for a chance at a free $25 gift card. And thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you spending your time with us and trust it was meaningful and impactful for you and your business. We look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Thank you, everyone.